moderators,
Yeah.
So, Dominic, you are live on YouTube because globalelixirmeetup.com.
Nice. That's super nice. Can we put the YouTube link into the description of the global?
I put it on the chat and I put it in the description.
Nice.
I mean, I hope I can put it in the description because I don't know how I can edit the description.
Or maybe you put it in the chat, yeah?
I put it in the
Yeah,
chat.
amazing.
Dominic?
Yeah.
Pizza is arriving in 10 minutes. They are awfully late.
Yeah, according to the schedule, we do it after the first talk. But you think you're hungry? We want to do it first.
Yeah, but I mean, people are arriving anyway, so maybe...
Yeah. I'm with you. It's 50-50. Which one do you prefer?
I would rather wait some minutes.
And then eat the pizza, and then we start?
The other pizza is already there. The vegan pizza is already there.
Yeah, so you're saying pizza first, and then we start the talks? Yeah. I like that. So Damian, you're good? We're gonna... There's one laptop here, yeah. It's below mine. Is this yours?
No, mine was in front. There is one below.
Yeah, no, here, there's two here.
It's below.
Yeah, it's like... So we have some pizza here already, and there's more pizza coming. And because pizza is the best when it's warm, what we want to do is we're gonna change the schedule a little bit. The original schedule is that we do some pizza after the first talk, but we're gonna give the pizza priority. Sorry, Damian, but it's much better when it's warm. And so gonna have some pizza first, and then we're gonna start with the talks and do that. So that will also allow some more people to join and come a bit later, as I'm used to in these Elixir meetups. Do we have some pizza already?
Der letzte auf der Agenda, oder?
Yeah. No, that's right. I'm live, by the way, so everyone hears what you.
Hello.
But also, we're gonna we have this week of global Elixir meetups happening. I don't know if who's aware of that, has heard of, yeah, everyone is aware, okay. So we're taking part of that, which means there's a camera over there, and we're streaming, right? So if you don't want to be streamed, just be aware of that, don't get into that. I have the people who speak, they get a microphone like this, so if you don't have a microphone, your voice is not being heard, so you're safe. Just so you guys are aware. And let's get into the kitchen and get some pizza, and then we come back here and we'll start the formal program in a bit after all of the pizza is there and eaten up.
Hello?
Yeah, I just want to make
be
people
careful
aware.
what you open personal, privately.
Is the text okay for the projector?
Yeah, Andrew?
Are we live yet? Is this on YouTube right now?
This is live, yeah.
Okay.
This is live, yeah.
So welcome everyone. That was the pizza break, the early pizza break. So I hope you all feel much more settled now and you're willing to accept whatever's coming next. I heard like when you do a sales pitch, you should always like ensure people are not hungry anymore, but they're full. You can sell it to them. So unfortunately, I don't have much to sell today. For those, I mentioned it earlier, we have the global Elixir meetups going on right now. And we also want to stream as part of that. So there's this website, I think most people are aware of this. So there's a website of meetups going on right now. And you can go on and check out, like, Berlin is live right now. And there was a problem with the videos, and so now we're recording and streaming to YouTube because maybe the website was overloaded. But just so you're aware, we are recording this, and if you don't want your face, just be aware, just watch out to be in that side of the camera. You don't want your face to be in the This is the camera over there. Also there, I just want to thank Lucas for the setup, that he's actually allowing us to take part in this, and did that as in the previous meetup was amazing, so thank you very much. Again, also, who has been at this office here before for the Elixir meetup? I think this it's a pretty common place for us, and it's an amazing place, and it's also sponsoring the pizza. So thank you, Chris. He's back there. taking a break. So we're gonna have 3 talks today actually, so it's gonna be pretty packed. And we want to start with Damian, who works for Semaphore. And you guys have an office here? No? Maybe you could. You're fully remote. Did you just come for us here?
Yes.
Where are you actually located?
Wow.
Whoa! So without any further ado, I think I want to get a look up here. And I can set up. 1 second, just going to set up the presentation. Maybe you guys have, those who were here last time, you've seen that over there. We have still like the marks from who's using which AI browser, AI code editor. I'm really curious actually to do this again afterwards. In the next break, probably we can do it, and just to see whether it's something, how much it changed, and what you guys are using today. Emacs. Is that the Erlang people? I think all the, if you ever come to the browse some of the Erlang source code, you will see that often at the top there's like the Emacs comments about the Emacs configuration. So a lot of these guys are using Emacs. Someone never can get used to the control K and the other thing. Like my fingers don't do it.
So the major influence
for 6 months ago, open source story, and they're still running success, and also likely to do some tests. So that's how this happened, and what are the main challenges that we face during this transition in why it's not every day of success as well. So before we jump into the specifics of open source transition, I'll just give you a short introduction of Semaphore so you can understand the context. So the Semaphore is CI/CD and automation tool written in Elixir, but actually the Semaphore story began in 1912, and there's many other stories that started in Ruby. So the original version of Semaphore was Semaphore Plus was written in Ruby. And density group hit the same issues. The same performance that inspired the Meetup version during Elixir. So in 2017, when we started working on the second version of Semaphore, the Elixir was obvious choice to develop Semaphore. So nowadays we have several editions. We have a SAS/hybrid edition, we have open source community edition, and open source enterprise edition. So now that we have a better understanding of Semaphore, we can talk about why we decided to open source. So I could tell you that the main motive was completely altruistic, to grow the community. I'm sure that you believe me 100%, right? So yeah, but actually there were also several good business reasons, and the best outcomes usually come when personal reasons align with reasons that benefit the whole community. So one of the main reasons was actually Microsoft buying GitHub and introducing GitHub Actions. This introduced like a large shift in the CI/CD market, and then we needed a way to differentiate ourselves with other competitors. So we first developed Enterprise On-Premise Edition for new customers, but we had some difficulties in actually adopting new users of that platform. For existing Semaphore users that had that already know Semaphore, it was working pretty well. but new users can't throw this to actually try it without buying it, right? So it is really hard to do that. So we identified switching to open source as a way to solve this issue, but also to reach a broader audience and foster transparency and trust with current and new customers, and also as a way to benefit from outside contributions. So once we committed to this path, we actually needed to start work on it. And then going open source is not as easy as just clicking the button during the repo, right? There are many challenges that you might face. And here I'm taking this split in several categories. Here I listed the categories.
We won't go through them here. We are going to take a deeper look into each of them next. So first we are going to talk about first big challenge, that was the feature splitting. So we wanted the open source version to be as powerful and useful on their own as possible, but we also needed to protect parts of the platform under a proprietary license just to keep the business viable so we can continue to improve Semaphore. So striking that balance was pretty challenging. Finally, we decided to make all core CI/CD functionality public and just to extract the advanced security and compliance features like RBAC, SAML scheme, Google SSO, and audit logs into a proprietary space. Next main challenge was security. Actually, once your code is public, all potential vulnerabilities are visible that have never been visible before. So we needed to make sure that we do not expose those vulnerabilities. So we invested highly in this area in several tracks. So we first expanded our threat models, then had training sessions with experts, internal security reviews, finally white box penetration testing, that was very helpful, and finally infrastructure hardening sprints. Next challenge was with actual code base. So over the years, Semaphore has grown into quite complex system. Some parts were in separate repositories, other contained old shortcuts made under time pressure. So we first had to centralize old code base into a single monorepo. Then we had to clean up all internal hacks and all inadvertently exposed secrets. So one of the tools that can help you in that area is Git Guardian. It works really well. And finally, we needed to perform that code split, that is extracting parts of the code that need to be under proprietary license. This part turned to be pretty complex as well, because Semaphore is a distributed system that is consisting of many services, around 35 Elixir services running in Kubernetes. And then in a case where the service needed to be fully extracted on its own, that was a pretty simple solution. But there were more complex cases where we needed to actually split the code inside one service into a separate thing, into two separate versions. So we tried several approaches. First was umbrella apps. That didn't work actually a lot for us, but more because of legal and compliance issues. Then second option that we tried is extracting the shade functionality into core functional library, and then having the two versions of the code that are just referencing that library as a dependency through local dependencies in Elixir. This was working better, and it also helped us reduce code duplication. And then the final approach that we had to do in some cases is duplicating the service, where basically the old service became the proprietary one, and then we developed a new one that is public, and it's usually more simple. Now, when talking about those legal and licensing questions, first part that we needed to do there was picking the right open source license that would fit our goals, and also develop and draft the proprietary license. So for the open source license, we chose the Apache 2.0. It's the most broad one. It allows you to be also the part of Apache Software Foundation, and yeah, it's the best one for our use case. For the proprietary one, I was fortunate enough to avoid that part discussing with legal teams. So yeah, but it was also a long process. And finally, the more interesting part from the engineering standpoint was that we needed to make sure that all dependencies are compatible with our licenses. So we needed to scan them for any conflicts. Tools that can help you in situations like this are FOSA and Sneak, and they work very well. Next set of issues was in the infrastructure space. So when you are working in the when you are working with the SaaS, you have full control over your infrastructure. You can choose the provider that you want and configure everything with your liking. But when we are talking about creating the open source product, you need to make sure that it works on all major infrastructure providers, cloud providers, as well as on bare metal machines. So we decided to, and also the installation process needs to be simple and easy for people to try it. So in order to facilitate that, we needed to develop Helm charts for his installation and management. We also needed to way to test and develop those support for all major cloud providers and for installation in VMs on bare metal machines. We have continuous tests set up for all of these cases. They are available on the repository and quite complex, so if you're interested, you can check them out later. Finally, a big part of going open source is attracting contributors. And in order for contributors to be able to easily contribute to your process, you need some set of toolings and documentations. So we had to first document our code and architecture of our system, and then to develop the contribution guides. Those are not something that you can nail from the first try, so they are evolving as you go, and we are still working to make them even better. That was one of the more interesting projects in this area. Finally, we needed to make all CI/CD pipelines public so people can figure out if their tests are breaking. And through all of this, we needed to make sure to keep isolation between SaaS and open source in order to protect our customers on SaaS from any potential malicious acts. The final part of the challenges was around team workflow and mindset. It is quite different when you are working in a private code base in private communication as opposed to public communication. So we needed to switch to building public mindset. This means that issues and pull requests are public. You need to be much more descriptive when you are writing them to make sure that everyone understands them. And this also from outside the team. And the second part is you also need to make sure not to expose any private informations from your customers, where previously you could write a pull request that says fixing issue for customer A where user B cannot log in. Now we cannot do that, so yeah, it's a continuous challenge. We also switched to Discord over Slack because it facilitates public communication. And we started recording and publishing all our design sessions, so any interesting person can get more insight into how and why some features are developed in a specific way. Finally, one part of this is balancing internal SaaS roadmap with improvements suggested by the community. We are still working on that, but we have monthly releases with small improvements that the community requests. Okay, so now we can talk a bit about results after 6 months from transition. customer coming from open source community edition, and that validates our hypothesis that this is one way of expanding our user base. So this transition brought some benefits to us. So it forced us to level up our game as engineers. So once your code is public, shortcuts are no longer accessible. So we had to raise the bar in documentation, testing, and code clarity. That all also transfers to making the SaaS product better as well. It also brings new marketing opportunities. You don't need to pay for adverts when you can talk about open sourcing conferences. There is also developers can share it and try it and generate the buzzwheel. And then one of the major benefits in these times is that it is much easier to use AI-assisted coding. We don't have any privacy concerns with code since code is already public, so each developer can choose on their own whatever tool works best for them. And also, and as I said, it opens new paths to enterprise adoption. But it also brought benefits for the community. We open source 700,000 lines of Elixir code, and it includes solutions and examples for many interesting problems. So one of them is batch job processing at scale. So as I said, we are handling several hundred thousand jobs per month, and they are typically grouped around peak working hour times. So it's quite challenging to make that job processing work. Second part is about easy implementation of finite state machine workers by using Elixir macros. Our main service that is managing pipelines and alternate state transitions has this implementation. And finally, there is also production-grade Phoenix application running front code. Then outside of Elixir community and for the whole DevOps community, there is now a modern free alternative to Jenkins. Jenkins is a good tool, but it is several decades old at this time, and I'm sure some of you had fun with managing it. Yeah. And then finally, the last benefit is shared innovation. So anyone can inspect how a production-grade CI/CD platform is built, learn from it, improve it, adopt it for their own use case. So yeah, as a closing point, I would invite you all to get involved. So the project repo is at GitHub, semaphore.io/semaphore. If you're interested more about the product page is semaphore.io. You can also join us at Discord, and all contributions, feedbacks, and users are welcome. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. That was really great.
If you have any questions.
Yeah, let's do some questions. And I have this microphone. I want to bring it to you when you have a question, so I'm just going to pull it out here. Just try to... Still connected? Did you raise your hand?
I wanted to ask, so currently, do you have people outside of your org that are making contributions that are being accepted right now in the company? And what would the percentage split look like between contributions that you're making in the org versus those that you accept? Yeah,
so we are still in early days. We have contributions from outside, but still a significant portion comes from us internally. We are developing Semaphore every day and running SaaS platform, so it would be pretty hard to outpace us, I would say. But yeah, we are hoping to have even more contributions in the future. And so in that case, we are doing like several efforts, like documenting good first issue tickets, adding other improvement suggestions and tickets that we had previously internally, and by making them public and making sure that people can easily jump in and contribute if they are so inclined.
Thank you.
Okay.
Firstly, thanks for your talk, and secondly, my questions were what are your approaches for being able to provide more accessible developer tooling and documentation.
Okay, so in that area, so from development tooling, as I said, like one of the main challenges was actually making sure that you can run it on your machine and test it. So we are talking here about many services in Docker containers, right? And for that, we are using a tool called scaffolding that allows us to like easily bring it up on your machine. But it also required a lot of like fine tuning and like making sure that all resources are as low as possible, because as you can imagine, it was initially developed for running on scale on servers, not on your local machine. So yeah, so for example, like typical production load is like more than 100 cores of CPU, and then like you needed to switch that down to like to fit on 16 cores on your laptop. So it was quite interesting challenge, actually.
Just, if I may, just hook into that. How long did that whole process take? Like, just thank you very much for that very detailed report that you gave us. It was super insightful. Like, for me, it's a very similar situation. I'm just too cowardly to put my stuff public, like for my company. But it's super interesting. Always thinking about that. So how long?
Yeah.
How big of an effort was that?
Actually, yeah, that's a really good question. So. The whole process took around a year, and actually the most challenging part for us, at least, was the security. That took like a better part of the year, so maybe even more than 6 months, because we needed to like really nail that down. We couldn't afford to like expose our SaaS customers to any problems, right? And then like the other thing we managed in like all other things we managed in 6 months, while we are still working on some contribution and development tools and improvements. That, as I said, that's ongoing thing that you discover as more people from outside the company are trying to contribute.
Thank you so much. Anyone else has more questions? I think we're good. Then thank you so much. That was super insightful.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have the next talk here in a second. Chris, you want to come to the front? You can do like a microphone switch here with Damian. And then we're gonna hear something about grounding Esmeralda. But before we do that, I want to come back to what I mentioned earlier here. And I need a pen. Let me just grab a pen real quick.
It's not mine.
So we got this from last time. Maybe we can just go. Oh, it's outside. Yeah, let's get this. Is it inside the camera now? I'm just going to take a different color. Why we don't start here? Oh, we start with you, Damian. Are you using any AI editor?
I tried Elixir, but I'm more using Visual Code plus
VS Code plus Copilot?
yes, and also Code AI that's internal. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Like the Claude agent, is that it?
yeah.
This is for you. You can put it here, and then I got mine here. Yeah, I think Claude agent is not here, right? I think that actually didn't exist when we did this. I'm just gonna add it here. Claude agent. That's gone. That. Oh. Cursor. Emacs. Okay. Love it.
NeoVim and Supermaven still.
Yeah, we have this here.
Really good.
Vim and Tidewave. Tidewave is new. I like that.
Yeah, but then you do the AI part there, and then whenever you want to adjust code, you go back to it.
Who else tried Tidewave? Anyone tried Tidewave? Is everyone aware what Tidewave is here?
You mean the paid product or the local running? The local running.
Yeah, it's like the kind of the Elixir Live View plugin that allows you to.
Yeah, so what I meant was the other version that has the web interface. You can.
Exactly. Like I also tried the web interface one. I'm curious about like maybe you should have a talk about that next time. Because for me, like my app has some problems. It compiles so slow that I can't really use it. It's my problem, but I need to solve that. And you said Vim, right? I'm gonna put Vim here. Let's go on. Let's make this quick because Chris is already ready. Just Vim. Sorry, Copilot? Yes, very cool.
Copilot.
Copilot.
So I use that, but actually most of the AI stuff I do through close code in the terminal.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not an Elixir developer yet. I don't know if I should answer. So I'm not using.
But are you using?
Oh no, I don't use any Elixir.
Not yet. Z? That's amazing. Cursor. Yeah. Me as well. Vim. Sheesh. You guys are hardcore. Z.
No, free.
Next row, there. Just Vim. What is your, are you using any AI editor? We just do.
Not anymore. Vim.
Not? Sheesh.
The one true editor. Yeah.
That's gone.
Just VS Code.
VS Code. With Copilot or you don't? Do you use?
No, I just vectors in ChatGPT and then VS Code. Yes.
I'm gonna add ChatGPT here.
Cloud Code and NeoVim.
Did you say Claude Code and NeoVim? Yeah. Did I add NeoVim specifically?
Yeah, it belongs to Vim. It's fine. It's the same. It's all Vim.
There. I think he did. Are you using an editor right now? Yeah, you. Yes.
I'm writing. Oh wait.
No, not right now. No pressure. It's not. I'm not the teacher here.
VS Code and Copilot.
VS Code and Copilot. There you go. And? No editor. NeoVim. Vim is making the crew. That's really exciting. Sorry? Vim and Claude. Man. Z and Claude. Really. This is cool. Kilo? How do you write that? Kilo? I haven't heard of that one. What is that?
AWS, but these are forked from VS Code.
Oh.
Use the cursor cloud.
It's the cursor from AWS. Does it have its own...
Curse from AWS.
Nice. This is really amazing. Man, I need to relearn my Vim shortcuts. I really...
I can teach you. Everything you want to know.
My Vim level is just like enough to remote into a server and like edit some config files and then exit again. Like that's I'm so sorry now. I feel like I have to do something here. Thank you everyone for sharing. And with that, we want to learn more about Xmorella. And are you using Vim yet, Chris?
Vim.
Yeah. Which editor are you using to work on Xmorella?
I'm using Vim whenever I go to the server, and I think, I don't know, since 19 whatever.
What are you using otherwise daily?
Yeah, from that one, it's Cursor and Windsurf.
Cursor and Windsurf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that finished, Chris,
Yeah.
take it away. Thank
Take
you so
it
much for
away.
having us and taking
it's actually really great to have this standing around in the office, because I tend to forget all the options that you have on using AI whatever editors. So I take a picture regularly from that slide, and it's very great that it's now evolving. I don't want to talk about code generation today, but I want to talk about grounding Esmeralda. And I'm talking about the evaluation of retrieval augmented generation AI systems. That's a long title, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, I'll talk a bit about about the motivation, about Esmeralda, retrieval augmented generation basics, evaluating RAG, retrieval and generation. To whom I think to me it would sound totally gibberish if I was like, okay, who here has worked with Esmeralda? Okay, 1 or 2.5. Okay, let's switch to some neutral ground. I'm Chris. I lead quite an interesting life. And professionally, that means that I founded BitCrowd some 15 years ago or something. And it's basically a pretext to work with the awesome team at BitCrowd. It's like, yeah, I really enjoy that, working with them, with everyone there. We also, apart from being an awesome team, we're also doing Elixir application, and we're doing machine learning, and we're doing development hires. Okay. How did we come here? Elixir is not dead. It's just a bit a teenager in a small town, and Python has just gotten a brand new car. It's called AI. And I'll give you a moment to take a photo. Okay. It leads to the question, like, is Elixir AI ready? Because like Python has all the nice things, and you can run everything from there and stuff. Our opinion to that is yes. It's a great system for reliable engineering, and the future of AI will be less about like the big magic model that does everything, but more about crafting small models or working with smaller models to get an outcome that is often rivaling the outcome of like a quite sophisticated commercial model out there. In fact, when you go to ChatGPT, you see that nowadays you don't talk to the model directly, you talk to some kind of router that then forwards you to some fitting LLM, and then maybe does some tool calling to do some code engineering stuff. It's already happening. Like even the big commercial models are not models anymore, they are systems. And having said that, that's great for Elixir, because Elixir is such a good chassis to build on. And so we're quite well equipped to adopt AI. And the adoption of AI will be like a crucial part of our the adoption of Elixir. If we can manage to somehow bring people to reap the benefits of the stability of Elixir together with the benefits of AI, we're kind of in a very good position. But we are missing some bits and pieces. For instance, if you want to set up a chatbot or a RAG system or something like that, then there's always this problem with the interface. So our idea was, maybe let's move towards something like Streamlit. Who here knows Streamlit? Well, Streamlit or Chainlit basically is a Python framework that allows you to just click a chatbot together very easily and very fastly. And after I worked with those, I was like, I wanted to have something like Elixirish who does that. And so the idea was that we do a simple, no-frills Elixir chatbot that is, and put it out there for everyone who needs to build something like that to steal from. Open source and not perfect and polished, but more like something like a discussion or like the start of the discussion for the community. So it's more like community work in progress. And this was where the idea of Exmeralda was born. Exmeralda is a chatbot that you can use to chat with HexPM packages. There's going to be a QR code in the next slide, so you can already wander away with your attention. Yeah, you see here, you can select a library and then you ask like, what is Ecto? And then it answers you like, what is Ecto? And here it reaches into a realm that is reserved for commercial, bigger models who are trained on even stuff like Elixir, with like a very small LLM, a very small local LLM, and a technique called RAG, which like ensures that your LLM is provided with good information so it can do a good generation. We launched that in May during the AlchemyConf, and people quite liked it. We got featured on the Elixir radar. We went into the Thinking Elixir podcast, and yeah, we got quite some attention. There's the link, by the way. But it also has some limitations. As we said, like it's basically like the first statement of a discussion, and it has like the easiest, as it now currently runs, it has the easiest of prompts. And it's not at all optimized, and full text is also not quite working properly. But it's still, even with this like strange setup, it answers questions quite well. Just so that everyone knows what we are talking about, shall I just make a short demo of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't expecting that you haven't worked with that. My God. That's not what I wanted to show you. Instead, I wanted to go to... This is great. That's the real stuff. And here's the cursor. Okay, this is Exmeralda. You have to, like, we somehow wanted to guard the LLM resources for, so that not everyone is like just using our LLM for free. So you need to sign up with your GitHub account, but we're not doing anything with the data at all. And then we can select the library. Those are all inserted already. Ecto, for instance, when should I use repo transact? Multi, Ecto multi. I always mix those up. Ecto multi and what?
So just a tougher test on the AI.
Oh,
Yeah.
I often type wrong when I query Cursor, for example, or ChatGPT, and I'm always surprised how often they still get me
Yeah.
How did you understand that?
But then, ever now and then, it really makes a difference. Okay, when should you use repo transact and when should you use a repo actor multi? Okay. So the thing is that this is like you can ask ChatGPT the same question, but like the inference for Esmeralda is about 10 euros a month, like for the whole system, because it's like such a cheap model that we're using there, such a cheap setup, and still it's like delivering content that is most of the time it's true. Most of the times is the important bit here. You can also, like, if you check it out, you can also do like ask for libraries. Someone is embedding CSS811. Does anyone know that? That's probably like, what?
It's a sensor of humidity and temperature.
Oh, wow. Okay, so then we could, like, once that this embedding is through, like once it's been fully inserted, we can ask it like, what is CSS811? That's something. Okay, so we've built that, and the whole thing is also completely open source. If you're completely open source, it's not only partly, it's completely open source. Isn't that great? It's here, and yeah, you can just grab it and work off of that. Okay, back to our, now you know what Esmeralda is. Please check it out. There's no excuse from now on. Yeah. But as I said, it also has some limitations. Like sometimes when the context is like a bit poisoned or like some things are there, it still wanders about to happily make things up. Okay, who here knows what rag is? Okay, some yes and some a bit. So let me tell you a story. This is Walter. We don't know if it's his first name or his last name. The problem is he grew up in such a small village that he speaks such a strange accent that no one is able to understand him. You just can't talk to him. He also is not so good at reading or writing, which is all a pity because Walter is an excellent storekeeper. Like, if you want something, he knows exactly where to get it, and he's very fast. The problem being is that you want something like the car keys from him, you cannot talk to him. So, but what we found out that what works totally great is when you wave other car keys, like you stole car keys from someone else, you wave them in front of Walter, and Walter gets all the keys that are there, and not only the car keys, but he also manages to find the keys to the castle. We don't know how he does that. Embedding. Embedding. Yeah, he's really great at that. And we have another component in our system, that is Sarah. Sarah is an excellent storyteller, but sometimes if she just like doesn't have a good script or something, she just tells the wildest stories, and they're not at all to the point that you want to hear something about. So after long, don't ask me why this team is so strange. We just came to work with it. And so this is our setup nowadays. If we want to get a story about car keys, we dangle the car keys in front of Walter. And Walter is then like producing all kinds of keys, handing them to Sarah. And Sarah is then telling us a story about keys, lost, stolen car keys, whatever. But it's very much to the point. Or back to the point, that's quite similar, or that's like exactly how we built Esmeralda. We have the retriever, which is kind of our Walter, and we have Sarah, who is our LLM. More in detail, what we do is that we ingest the library, and this is kind of our Walter. It uses a model, a special kind of models called embedding models, to place the chunks somewhere in the vector space so that they can be found. And if we want to retrieve something, we give him the user query, and he knows, like, okay, I would place the user query in there, then let's have a look around. What is the next hit from there? So why optimize? Every now and then, newer models come out. For instance, Gemma has just released embedding model, or Gwen also has just released an embedding model. And all of the time you are asking yourself, like, should I switch? And if I switch to another LLM to generate the answers, what will be the impact of that? This is why you need to optimize or like research or measure the performance of your RAG system. Those who know RAG a bit know that there's something like RAGers, just as an example for a framework, mainly because it has this nice answer. Like if you have a chatbot who's doing retrieval augmented generation, you have two sides of that. One is the retrieval, and the other one is the generation. You evaluate those separately, so you can isolate the factors. Retrieval, for instance, with the metrics precision and recall are maybe very, very well known to all people that work with machine learning. Basically, the high recall means how many of the relevant chunks have you found? And high precision means how many of the hits that you gave, that we found, are actually relevant. So if we go back to this slide, context precision here and context recall means like how many chunks or how many relevant documents have I found? Have I found all of them? And of those that I have found, how many are poisonous or like do contribute nothing to what I'm asking. The other side is faithfulness and answer relevancy. You give those chunks and the question to a model, and then you ask, like, how faithful is that model? Like, how many assertions does it make? And of those, how many are actually grounded on the facts? And the other one is answer relevancy. For instance, it's easy to answer a question that, or like to create an answer that is so ambiguous that it doesn't contribute anything to the matter. So those are basically the metrics. What is common to both is that you always need something that's called like the ground truth. If you want to evaluate if a chunk is relevant for a question or is not relevant for a question, you need to somehow know all the chunks, and you need to know all the which of those are relevant to a question to actually do this calculation. Most of the time you don't have that kind of knowledge. So that's where we step in, because we often have the problem that we want to evaluate chatbots. And so we started to extend Xmeralda a bit to allow especially those kind of evaluations. And now I'm so grown up that I even do use live books in live coding. Our idea is, if we want to evaluate how good retrieval is, like how good our Walter is producing items, why not turn the whole process around? Let's take a random chunk and let's ask an LLM to generate a question for it. That way we have a question that we know at least one answer to. And with Xmeralda, you can just, there's a module called evaluation, and you can do a batch generation of questions. You just give it say what library you want the questions for, and then what setup you want to run them against. We can click on this. And then we get questions. I have to keep on talking for about a minute or something like that, because that's like the local system. We will get questions about RAG, or Bitcrowd RAG library that we've released in order to get Xmeralda running. Here it is. Now we get something like, I called get evaluation score on a generation struct before I ever stored a score, and it raises key error, no such key. How can I avoid that? So that's like, sounds a bit cryptic or sounds a bit strange, but we can actually now use that. Like, we know that this question is exactly matching this chunk ID. And we can now run an evaluation with these questions, where we just basically feed those questions into Xmeralda itself. Like, you can run that on your own laptop, and then you can run them against your libraries. And then you see that, for instance, here we have the reciprocal rank fusion results, which are like combined from full text search and from embedding search. And here we see like what chunks are found. And we see that the chunk was found by the search algorithm. It only featured on rank 4, which can happen because there's no guarantee that there is not another chunk that's better. But we see that it did not get the first score, like this, our question was not the first score, but we found at least the file that we were asking about. And the source rank, like the source that this chunk originated from, was at least on the first rank. If we combine this all, then we see that like we have two search systems. One is the full text search, one is the semantic search, and then there's a reciprocal rank fusion which combines both. And we see that the full text results found the chunk that we were looking for, at least in average, like at order 3, but it never really hit, like was never the first hit for the chunk. So we always had other chunks that were found more frequently. And in the semantic results, the average, we most of the times found the matching source in the first rank. So that means here that the semantic results were much better than the full text results. Now we can, for instance, wait. Now we can start to evaluate, for instance, what happens if we take 30 results from full text and 30 results from PG vector, and if we save that, okay. Then we can go back to our live book and do the same thing again. And then we see that the average source rank has increased just because we added, no, it's the same. Do we need to recompile here in the live book? Do you know?
Something needs to recompile.
Something needs to recompile.
Can you just write recompile? No, it's not a shell.
Yeah, it's connected to a shell. Come on. Here is the shell.
Hey, grab that on there.
What?
Recompile.
Yeah. Why is not? Okay. And probably now all the results are gone. Recompile.
Nearly.
What?
There's an O missing. Switch M and O. Yeah. No. There you go. Yeah. It recompiled one file.
Yeah. Okay, it recompiled one file. Let's see if that was enough. And let's see if that's picking up. So it actually got worse because we pulled in more results, but the source is like still being the. How does it compare with the ratio from above here? Chunk found ratio, source found ratio. So it was most of the time found. Sorry?
You're searching for full text. It's a bit off.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Rank went down by one.
Yeah.
From 3 to 4.
Yeah. So that's how you can like measure, see like what influence those parameters have. You can also use that to test different chunks against each other, different prompts against each other, or try out different models. And you can also like regenerate messages, because if you're here, you can just type in one generated message like this one, and then you can regenerate it, for instance, because you have like a different you're now using a different LLM. Let's see. Again, I have to talk for half an hour. Are you still like here, there, alive, kicking? Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty curious about that. We just added like these little chatbots that you sometimes have, these nasty ones in the bottom right of like a website. So we just added that kind of thing to our website, like today. And it's like an LLM-based one that does exactly this, right? So you ingest our docs, and you ingest like the website, and you ingest like the GitHub, and then it's made to be a sales funnel, right? So you get more sales, but actually you can ask that thing anything about like the product and how to use use a CLI and how do you install it on a Raspberry Pi, and it responds based on that. And like, so they don't tell you a lot about what backend they use, right? So the first question was, how crappy are the answers going to be? Right? Especially if you ask like a complicated technical question, is this going to be totally hilarious and just giving bad responses, which would reflect badly on us, right? Or is this kind of acceptable, and what can we do to improve it? So it's exactly like what you're doing there. But there's not so many of these solutions. I mean, you should do. I buy yours if yours is better.
Yeah, I mean, that's live right now on GitHub. You can just, as I said, steal it from us. And yeah, we created the whole thing so that it's easier to do A/B comparisons between like the generation of something, because we found when we were doing like the evaluation of different things, of different setups, or like if a new LLM comes out, you're always like clicking here, then entering the question there, and clicking here, and then clicking there, and the process is like totally tedious. And there's also tooling, but it's quite nicer to have that integrated into a chatbot itself. And with everything that you learn from that, you can easily then go and apply that to your own system. Okay, here is the... I was asking the same question, like this repo transaction one, and we got like this answer here. And now let's look what the regenerated one was. Okay, so this is the new generation. And now we can go off and ask the bigger brother, ChatGPT, which one is better?
Already scraped your answer from the other website.
I didn't get that. Give me a second. I can only type or listen at the same time. Now, what?
They probably already scrapped your answer from the other website.
Ask me later. The what? I scraped the answer from the other website?
Maybe ChatGPT already got the answer from your...
Ah, right. Okay, good. Now I have it.
Sorry.
I thought, like, what is he accusing you of? Yeah, so I'm basically asking something like, which of the two answers is answers the question better? Give evaluation in the categories preciseness. What?
The W needs to be after the S.
It's still gonna get it. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, this looks quite great, does it? Yeah, that's okay. You always get that? I was wondering if like it's only me that's always making it thinking longer for a better answer, because I'm only asking the hard questions. But
Did you write ultra things somewhere?
Okay, so no, it says like that the second generation is better than the first, and of course, like with the tooling that we included in Xmeralda, you can like not only ask for one question, but like give a whole chunk of IDs that were generated, and then you can download a CSV. Then you can automate this process, so you get a score like which generation is better. So in all, we have now tooling that we can use to evaluate retrieval against each other. And we have tooling to evaluate the generation against each other. So with that, we are off to improve Xmeralda. Please check it out. Here it is. No, not at localhost. It's quite a famous site. Here github.com/bitcrowd/xmeralda or xmeralda.chat if you want to go there. I think at long last this is everything I have for you today. Just hang on.
You can also start yourself. It's like thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
That was great. That was super interesting. I might actually play with that and try to replace the chatbot on our side. Questions? Let me wait a second. I'll give you the microphone.
I'm just wondering which model you're using to do the actual generation after RAG. You said it's like $10 a month to each one.
Yeah. For Xmeralda, we decided against like hosting or like renting our own GPU or stuff like that. We are using inference providers for that, and for this we are using Gwen Coder 2 32 billions, which is like not the fastest, not the best model out there nowadays. And we always have to like find a new provider because they just dump that. And because this is just a hobby project, we're also not watching the mailing list. So one morning we always wake up like, oh, they did it again. And then we need to find a new inference provider, and then we're off to the next one. And that was also like one of those things, because they always recommend you like, why don't you use this one instead? And then you try that and it's like doing crazy things.
No worries.
I just wanted to ask, because I'm not too familiar with BitCrowd, is this one of your few examples of open source work, or is this typically the sort of thing that you're used to doing over at BitCrowd?
I think the question is if we're doing open source work at BitCrowd.
Yeah, aside from Xmeralda, is this a regular thing you guys do over at BitCrowd?
Let me just here. You will see that we are quite, this one here. Why not go there? We are kind of having quite 3 projects current that we are like actively working on, and as soon as we find anything that we like find that it's missing, that we start a project with that as well. For instance, we are having Chromic PDF, which is PDF generation inside of applications. We have Carbonite, which is like audit trails on Postgres. And we have got Tickety Tick, which is this tiny thing here. And if you use that, then you can have a ticket selected in any ticket management system. Then it creates like the branch and the commit message and all stuff of that for you. One of the maintainers, Max, is here, by the way, if you are interested about that. So that we always are able to trace like each code change to the ticket that has made that necessary, which is also quite great. Did that answer your question?
Perfectly, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. We're pretty late, but this was so much that let's take a short break just to decompress a little bit, maybe grab another drink, and then in 5-10 minutes we come back here and learn more about AI and UI, which sounds really interesting. So see you in a bit.
We just need to grab Chris.
I'm just really interested in the choice to work with Elixir.
Yeah. You're being recorded, so let me just let me just pick that up. So that eben nicht eure Gespräche nicht jetzt hier im Internet veröffentlicht werden. Okay, cool.
Hi, good to see you. Jesse.
You have your microphone set up?
Here you go, there's yours.
Hey everyone. Thanks for being being with us here so late. We're gonna do the final presentation for today and do second round on AI. Are we live?
Yeah.
The stream is running?
I think we're live, yeah.
Lucas, you're ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Then
are you ready? That's the question.
Take it.
Okay. Thank you for being out this late and listening to a topic with such short acronyms. Hi, my name is Lucas. I'm going to be talking about artificial intelligence and user experience. In short, about some kernels of truth I've found in the past months working with these things. Coincidentally, I realized today is September 25th, 25. It's a nice number, like that. But more coincidentally, I gave a talk about AI about pretty much exactly 1 year ago. And what does this tell you? Well, talking about AI is just enough. We do it once a year, right? That's all we got to do. Well, here's me. This is my LinkedIn page. If you want to be in touch and connect, very happy to be connected with. I do software projects, data architectures, digital transformations, and all these kinds of things. And I therefore have my hands in all kinds of weird businesses. And I run a small shop myself. And I also did it before the big ones did it. So this is one of my first AI products, which is for free. You can grab it on Gumroad. Now it's basically superseded by something what Gemini does already with its workspace suite. But I was one of the first to put OpenAI into a spreadsheet, and it worked really well. It was actually quite cool. So you got a little function, I can call it. Hey, but enough about me. Who are you? And in this day and age, what do you actually know? We give up so much to these machines nowadays and all our knowledge that 1 year has passed, and I haven't even remembered that I gave the talk about AI 1 year ago, right? Our attention spans shrink to little raisins. So let's play a little game to wake you up and also get you a little bit excited for what I'm going to be talking about. So you all going to be playing with me against the AI. I'm going to be showing you a picture, and you have to do the task of image recognition. So basically, I show you a picture, and you tell me what's on it, right? Elrond? Excuse me? It's a slide. It's a slide, yeah. That's very, literally, it's a slide, yeah. Okay, yeah, we got a slide. Elrond, what else? Hugo Weaving. That's the actor's name. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, if you know a lot of stuff. Wow. Any other guesses? Oh, into the black. So, you know, one of the first lessons really is this AI has watched The Matrix more often than you have. Wonder why. And probably less so Lord of the Rings. So lesson one, you know, training data matters, right? You got to know who trained it and what was it trained on, right? And if you don't know, it's up to the provider to tell you, and you can find out by the answers. Now, what's that? Pizza. What was the other one? Tennis ball. Tennis ball? Oh, yeah, cool. We got some wild recognitions here. A rug? A rug with, how do you spell a rug? R-U, okay. Correct. I think it's a rug. Yeah, a rug. Ah, yeah, and it's also plow. The I said rug, you said rug, you have a pretty good match, right? Yeah. What about this picture? What about this one? Obviously, a carpet. Okay, what about this one? Now, I'm coming back to the attention span thing, right? Do you remember this one?
Corruption, fraud.
Corruption, fraud. There's some interesting words here. Treason. Okay, let's see. It's a rug pull. Well, last but not least, a very difficult one. Rainbow. Nice, I love that. Yeah, it's really good. Any other guesses?
Rainbow rug.
Rainbow rug. The AI says it's a rag. The thing that you wash your toilet with. Well, I got some more for you. I have really, like, this whole game goes on, right? Now it's a bit about context. Do you understand the context? Do you have the context that you need to answer this prompt, to execute this question? Sitcom. A good one. It's Rags to Riches, a TV series from 1987, the year I was born. I don't even remember that. I have no idea what this is about. But the AI knows if the context window is either large enough or its training data and knowledge cutoff is large enough. So remember that. But what are we even doing here? We're talking about GPT. This is a technology that has become quite popular. In particular, this is the best definition that I find about this term. The generative pre-trained transformer, it's a type of large language model and a prominent framework for generative artificial intelligence. We're also going to be talking about OpenAI, which is basically not so open, closed, very much so actually. But we give it credit for popularizing this architecture and scaling it massively. And also this company owns a product called ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is, in my point of view, the first successful demonstration of this architecture in the wild. And it has become quite a popular piece of software, right? And I want to emphasize on the word software. We are all software developers, so let's get down to basics a little bit. And last but not least, if you didn't know what a rug pull is, it's a type of exit scam that involves raising money only to suddenly disappear. And only future will tell what will happen to the companies I've mentioned. We will see. Anyways, back to the software and the product, right? The product that we're looking at is very popular. And indeed, 190 million users use this product on a daily basis. So stats from 2025, 2024, I just looked it up on the website. It might be even more now. It has 10 million subscribers. There's a lot of people paying for that product even. And I think wherever you have internet access to a computer or a mobile phone with applications, you're gonna be able to use this product. It's actually quite interesting. Now, I want to ask you, what do you actually find great about it? And do you actually use this product? Any guesses, any things that come from your heart? Do you like the software? Do you hate it? What do you like about it?
I love that I get unknown unknowns.
You get unknown unknowns.
I don't know about.
You don't know about.
If I'm researching something, I can just type it in there and I get information that I would have never researched myself.
So true, yeah.
Because I wouldn't even know that it exists.
Right, yeah, right.
That's why I use it.
I think it's also what I really like about it, yeah. I would totally second that. Any other really love, yeah, you.
For me, sometimes I don't quite know how to phrase my question into Google.
Yeah.
So I can use ChatGPT to sort of, mostly do searches when I don't really know what my question is or how to write down my question. ChatGPT can kind of infer in a way that Google or a search index can't.
It's super interesting using it that way, right? I also use it exactly in this way where basically I'm dropping something. I don't understand the words, the context of what I'm actually researching. And I'm suddenly knowing the edges, the boundaries, and all the frame that this is about, yeah? Actually, it's a really cool way of using it, yeah? Any other uses of ChatGPT? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I like it for skipping all the SEO bullshit, you know?
All the SEO bullshit, yeah, it's true, yeah. There's yet no ads on the thing. Yeah, true, yeah, it's actually really nice. Okay, this is also what I find great about it is pretty much a lot of what you've mentioned, right? I dropped myself into it for doing some searches on it, exploring new contexts that I don't have the vocabulary for. And what I haven't heard yet, I use it to transform text all the time, right? Basically, I have something that needs to be written differently, or I have something that is for a different audience, and so I basically dropping my text and just it does the thing. And I really like this. But let's come to the other side of the coin. What don't you like about the software, right? It's a software that can be used, and you're a user, and there might be annoyances. What don't you like about the software? Like, go back and think of your last ChatGPT annoyance, right? You know, you used it and you tripped over something, or you didn't like something, even from a developer's perspective, right? What don't you like about it?
It's extremely non-deterministic. You can use the same prompt today, and tomorrow it's going to be a completely different answer.
Yeah, so true, right? Like, the moment when they released ChatGPT 5, I was in despair, right? Because it got even worse then, because they used the router system to route your prompt to, yeah. Getting non-deterministic answers is a huge pain, yeah, true.
I really hate reading any text written by ChatGPT. It has a certain tone and style.
Yeah.
And absolutely horrible. And when you spot it out in the wild, it's like, why would you decide to use it to just write something you could have written yourself? It makes a lot of content on the internet impersonal to me.
Yeah, it has a weird writing style if you read a lot of it, right? Like, it's very interesting that we humans are able to see patterns where if you use something long enough, you can see the boundaries of something emerging, even if you can't name or clearly say what it is. But we can recognize that there's a writing style behind the answers of ChatGPT, for example, right? You probably also know about the M-dash thing, which is one, I think, really annoying, right? So basically, M-dashes are dashes that are longer than other dashes. I actually use them. I actually use them myself. I use them a lot because I love them when I write a quote in Markdown and I want to put in the author of the quote, I use an M-dash, right? But you know, M-dashes are completely overused, for example. And then writing style, grammar, and certain characters are overused like crazy, yeah. Something else? Yeah, you hate something about ChatGPT? Tell me.
Yeah, because I always call it Americanization of language.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. Your question is so great, and I love such deep insights. You know, shut up, please.
Shut up. Yeah, and just get to the point. Damn it. Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. It's a great point. You know that large language models are actually a condensation of a particular culture, and I think if you use DeepSeek or if you use I think there's other ones that have been condensated by different, I think there's one from France that I think is Mistral, I think is also quite good. It definitely gives a different style and tone and cultural point of view. So that's an interesting point that you're making. Somebody else has a hate thing about it? Two more hate things, then I gotta move on, please. You first and then you.
I hate that the whole thing is built on stolen content and disincentivizes anyone from...
Yeah, sure, yeah. There's a whole moral aspect to the thing that is just awful. Yeah, that's why we don't talk about it, yeah.
The energy consumption is really high.
The energy consumption is quite high, yeah. But it's getting winter in Berlin, so we've got to warm up a little. Yeah, you're the last.
It's like the M-dash overuse of emojis.
The use of emojis, yeah. Everywhere, yeah, it's hot, yeah. Too much, it's like a teenager, right? Okay, I gotta move on. I really love their interaction, and I really love your opinions, right? And you gotta find out, maybe if you watch the talk a little, what I find really, really annoying about it, right? So let's take the software apart. Let's not talk about the models, the inference, the parameterization, the whole training, the whole thing. Let's take the software apart, and let me just check the time because, yeah, okay, I don't want to annoy you too much. First screen, and I'm gonna go through this a little quicker because I think we're running out of time. Hey, you see this, this is what you see. You get some input. You have some controls on the left and some alternative media. If we zoom out a little bit, there's some context controls on the right and there's some context controls on the left and some temporary chat features on the right. On the left in the vertical navigation bar, you basically have all the other encompassing features of the application, like Codex Sora, the GPTs, You got the folder feature, which is quite nice, and you got a chat history and as well as a user profile menu. I find it quite funny that OpenAI is now serving one of the biggest software products in the world, put the profile on the bottom left, whereas any other major company like Google and other put the whole account and profile on the top right, and like it's a diametral opposition to the status quo or something. Or maybe it's just a design decision, I don't know. Oh yeah, I forgot the home button. It's 2025 and we can't do without a home button that shows the logo of the company selling you the product. Anyways, let's move on to the chat. The chat is composed out, and it changes a little bit. Actually, this is one of the things I really like about the interface, that it has subtle changes when you start to use it, right? You from the home screen into going into a chat. It does small changes as adding, for example, the share functionality on the top right, or the input moves down on the bottom and so on, right? And there's something that I really, really, really like is this, like how the messages hide behind the bar, and this is like neatly cut off and so on. So I think this is quite nicely made. And there's obviously a nice scroll to bottom button which lets the user decide when they want to jump to the rest of the to the end of the conversation. Let's have a look at the messages. The messages, in this case, a user message, has not much to do, right? It's basically your message, your request that you send, and you can copy it. There's the message itself, a neat little tooltip that shows you what these buttons are doing, and you can edit your message. We will come back to that thing later. Sorry, brief moment of silence. To commemorate all the bugs, problems, and hard working hours copy and paste have caused to you and the rest of the world. It's 2025, and basically copy and paste is one of the most prominent functions in the biggest software product out there. Anyways, moving on to the assistant message. Do you see a difference? It has a whole lot more options. Like, what does that tell you about you, the user, right? The assistant, this is all what it's about, right? The whole thing is around the assistant message. You can do so much with the assistant message. You can rate it, you can copy it as well, you can give some feedback, you have more actions. Why don't we get more actions? Like the user message, you could just edit it and copy it. Well, I want to have stuff there. The assistant message gets it all. I don't like that. Now, also, the anatomy of a chat. How does a chat behave and structure itself? If you have ever programmed against such a system, you know that there's a system message, a user message, which is immediately followed by an assistant message. Interestingly, the system message in ChatGPT is hidden from the UI, and you can access it only via settings. And also interestingly, I find that the whole assistant flow is quite vast, right? The message gets enqueued, it's streaming to you, you can see while the thing is streaming to you, and then it's done at some point, right? And the UI is doing a lot of effort to actually display this processing status to you. Now, one of the first peeves that I have now, going from user into this interaction, every user message follows an assistant message. And you know, okay, yeah, it's a request-response system, right? But if you WhatsApp your friend, right, you have no guarantee that this guy responds to you immediately, right? You might be ghosted for some days, and then this person comes back or whatever. Or, you know, the system is built in a way to provide you instant satisfaction, right? Just like you type something, you get a response, right? As it should be with an information retrieval system, right? But also, I think, why does it always have to have the last word, right? I say, okay, thank you. It says, you're welcome. It's enough, acknowledged. Stop responding, stopped. Stop it! And it's basically always having the last word. This drove me nuts. I really, really hated this. And I don't know why, but it's one of the things that actually made me do this talk and made me research this stupid UI and also made me write my own. Anyways, now moving on to user interactions. You can see we take apart the whole software and the application. And in user interactions, when I look at a user interaction system, I also want to score it, right? In things like I want to do in things like I can do and things I can't do, right? And for that, I'm going to be using my patent pending soup scoring system. Follow along, please. We take apart the system message. So think about what you want to do with it, think about what you can do with it, and think about what you can't do with it from a user experience, right? So one of the things that comes to my mind is it can be configured in the settings, which is nice. You can alter it, you can modify it, you can change the tone of the responses that you receive by the system. Quite nice and helpful. But it cannot be changed for any given chat that you have. Let's say you have a history and you have worked out a bigger problem, researched some field, and you realize with that system prompt I might have gotten better answers, right? I cannot change it, I have to redo all of that stuff. And also, the whole system message business is kind of blurry and ill-defined. It also, I think this whole thing, this design decision, that the system message is in the background, away from the user, hidden in the settings, plus there is some hidden layers that happen in between the routing, the whole training, the whole safety thing, that your system message might not be the ultimate system message that is being given to the system, gave birth to a whole new category of jobs called prompt engineering. And it's interesting because it creates this kind of mystery around the product where you might get the answer that you want, right? This whole like indifference and, it's indirection, right? Like there's a big layer of indirection in between your request and the response you're getting, and you can even modify it, right? So basically, if you think about a system where you don't have only request and then a response, you have request and a system message, and basically, if you chain those together, the combinations become so much more, and basically it makes a whole mystery around the product. Now, moving on to this other thing, you can only copy it with difficulty in the settings. So it's quite hard to share your system message. You have to dig it out from the settings and put it there, right? Well, I score the system message feature 1 out of 4 cans. Next, moving on to the user message. I already told you that the user message, I think, is nice. It can be edited, right? You can modify something, go back in time, change it, get new responses, right? But editing might result in losing your history. Let's say it's not the last message you're trying to edit. It's like one above, right? Or a couple above. And you not necessarily want to lose the context and history what you have already spoken out on the other side, right? You want to maybe branch off, right? Well, it can be copied, and you cannot be provided via an API to the UI. This is another thing. I'm a developer. I have a thread, I have a context built with ChatGPT, and then I think like, yeah, it's a good context. I just want to shoot from a webhook somewhere, something to it, receive the response somewhere, and do something with it. That's it. That's my agent. That's my little task that I have solved, and I want to repeatedly solve it, right? And not only via an UI, maybe even via an API. So I score this feature and this context here 1 out of 4 cans. Well, assistant message, moving on to this part, it cannot be edited, which is, you wonder like, why would you want to, Lucas, why would you want to edit the system message? But who wouldn't want to win an argument? And gaslighting LLMs is actually quite fun. It cannot be used to branch off, although, wait, update, stop. It can be used to branch off ChatGPT, guys. They built in branch in new chat. Now you can branch off messages. But they built it in a way I think is just really not useful to me. So it's nice that they think about it. It's nice that they put it there, but it's not perfect. And also, I mean, obviously, right, you cannot generate model inference from other vendors with the ChatGPT UI. And I kind of dislike that because in the end, you know, there's so many models out there. I want to compare the responses to what I have to the most popular UI and software product that everybody's using. And yeah, it's quite not possible. And generating from another model is possible, which is actually quite nice. And but regenerating messages in your message history generally loses you the history, and you have to start a new thread and basically store it somewhere, save it, and there's a whole mess around this. Now, I score this 1 out of 5 cans. in total, this whole thing gets 3 out of 13 cans. What a shitty software. I really dislike it, actually. It's not that great. So let's build my own. I want to, I can do. And I gotta thank a couple things here, namely Elixir, and a bunch of libraries out there which helped me do that. And many energy drinks and energy drink cans later, and lots of work hours later, I kind of got you a demo, which I bring today and show you. Oh, demo time. So I present to you, drumroll, ChatGPT. I painstakingly rebuilt the ChatGPT interface in a whole new application in Elixir and Phoenix, by my rules, of course. And you know, it has some fun things, like it greets you with a little bouncy chat bubble and so on, right? I like these animation designs and things that like move a little bit. And I want you to guess what's behind this little feature, right? So I basically have a little feature here that, you know, if you're a bit impatient, you know, and you want to like, maybe if you don't know what you're writing and you can click the bubble, right? I can click it. And if I click the bubble, it gives me a little new question, right? And sometimes it's not so sure what to do and say. So who knows what's behind this feature? Fake it until you make it. Exactly. So basically, I took a list of a couple funny sentences and Edam randomed it, and I put it there. And I put some effort into this like appearance thing, right? Because it's like it types out when you request a new one. And I found it's actually quite easy to do with Elixir and Phoenix because you got these GS hooks, and I wrote a typewriter hook. So basically, the typewriter hook gives you on mount and update. It just types out the text that is being mounted. One of these things I really like about building my own, because in the end I can do whatever I want with the software now, right? So shall we query it and do something with it? Yeah. Okay. So I hope it will work. So wait. But is this too much? Oh, wait. Shall we just start slow? What do you want to ask? So this is what a new chat looks like in my ChatGPT, right? It looks pretty much like ChatGPT because I intended it to build it the same way. However, you might notice some differences in the threading, right? First of all, the system message is a part of the thread, like it is in the API, of course, right? So, and this is exposed to the user interface now because in the end you can see what the system message was that you sent the chat with. And then the answer is there, it streams to you, there's the exact same behavior and so on. But you might notice some other differences, right? I mean, yeah, I didn't give the user so much more choice, right? You can still just edit your message. And you can still just, you can edit the assistant message. Cool. The AI knows what I'm doing right now. And so we just gaslighted the AI into telling us what it's doing. And it's a bit insistent, right? It basically keeps on insisting that it doesn't know and so on, right? But I find these things and these plays very funny, right? Especially, I'm a developer, right? I'm building systems with AI. So I have to be able to take contexts from these interactions, whether it be an automated system that I'm sending agentic stuff to, or whether I'm retrieving information, right? In the background, there's a whole database and library and all these kinds of stuff that I can use this software, and now I have a UI to neatly debug it, right? You might have noticed that on the left side, the title changed of the chat, which is a really nice feature that they've built into ChatGPT. I also built it into my UI because I really love it. Basically, it takes your chat and compacts it and then gives you a summary of what the chat might be about. And so basically, it correctly inferred what the chat is about, and this is also baked in the UI. Now let's move on to some more interesting stuff. I said I really don't like it being incomparable to other vendors, right? So first of all, I can just choose any model I like and just even rerun an existing message with a different model. And it will do that for me and basically now run it with 5 Mini, for example, if my internet connection lets me. And what I also really like is I built in an adapter model, right? And it was really funny because I've been working really hard on this and there's a whole adapter model behind it. And then I think last week, Rec LLM came out, a really nice Elixir library that is basically an adapter model for all the models out there. I'm like, shit, I gotta rebuild this. But now, you know, here's my version. I'm gonna probably adopt Rec LLM into it. And now you can basically continue the conversation of your thread with a whole different LLM. In this case, I'm connected to a local LLM, which is running in my home on my Mac Studio. And it's running GPT OSS 20 billion. And so I can keep on asking it stuff, right? Stuff, for example. And so with this little thing here, I get instant access as a user to all the settings that the request is being made of, right? And now this here is a response from the same thread, but generated locally in my home, wired through my VPN back here to my laptop, to the presentation, and so on. And I basically am able to query any chat completion API with this thing. Now, you might have also noticed when I am on home, right, we only have 2 options here, right? And if I go to new chat, I basically start a new chat. But when I'm on a chat, I get this matrix button. Shall I click it? I click the matrix button. The matrix button brings you to a whole threaded history of everything that you have written in this thread, right? So if we go on the top left, you might remember that we invoked a helpful assistant by what time is it, right? And then his faithful answer was, I'm unable to provide real-time updates. You can check the current time on a device or clock nearby. So this is one of the features I've dreamed of for months now, because in the systems I'm building, right, I want to have an API basically that I'm sending my LLM inference requests to, which all store each and every request, each and every response they receive, so I can first of all replay them, inspect them, and also compare them with different responses. This is super important because the determinism of the systems is horrible, right? And especially if you're building agentic systems, you want to have a way of looking back in history and then replaying that particular history with a different model so that you understand the differences in responses so you can react accordingly, put in new guardrails, or build better judge systems to basically weed out the bad responses. And this UI helps me visualize and understand how that process might work. Now, you can see that on this case, I gaslighted the LLM into my own message, and I continued that conversation. And now you can see how that works, because in the end, I started a thread, I branched off, right? Here's the branching points, like a Git history, basically, because every message just refers to its parent. And then we gave it another prompt, it gave an answer, then at some point we changed the message settings, so it moved on to a new lane, of course, and then here we are on the bottom right with the last one, right? And this is actually quite cool because you can use this feature in a number of ways. One way is to compare models to each other. Right, so in this case, I'm querying 4.0 on some apes. And then I can simply go and say, yeah, what about the same response on 5 Mini, which is a cheaper model? And yeah, why not just do that on the same time, right? And so you can compare these side by side quite nicely. And now if I want to continue the conversation, I can do so, right? So, short answers. And the whole matrix thing will just, in parallel, execute both requests and just give you the answers right away. So it's a system I really like working with, because in the end, I immediately get what I'm seeing, right? And I can basically move on the conversation. Yeah, it's a long time. Thanks for listening. And thanks for diving in. If you're interested in that stuff, I can only tell you so far at the moment that I really thank you for your ears, your opinions, and everything, right? And leave a like, comment, and subscribe. No. In the end, please just contact me directly, follow me, or be in touch, right? I really like these meetups, especially also thankful for the organizers and everything putting this up, because in the end it gives me a little venue I can share my thoughts with. I get direct responses and can just talk to you afterwards. I'm loving that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucas.
Any questions?
Yeah, you guys have questions? I got the mic. Well, I have a question. Did you put it on GitHub yet?
No. No.
Do you plan to?
I don't know. Okay. I'm really afraid. I'm really afraid. I had a major rewrite in it, and I realized if I would have put it on 2 weeks ago, it would have been a disaster. Now it's in better shape, but I realized I have to do so much more work to get it clean.
Just write mix format and you're good.
I know. And I'm so hesitant. I'm giving a talk, and I was like really reluctant to give the talk because this question would have come up. Mm-hmm. Hear me out. I'm going to work on it a bit longer, and then see. Okay. Yeah, a bit longer. I can't release it yet. I don't know.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
You gave yourself, I think, 13 out of 13 cans, but do you think there's a 14th or 15th or 16th can that you want to add in the upcoming weeks or months to this application?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a ton of cans I would like to add to the application. First and foremost, I'm interested in your opinions, of course, right? Because now that the interface is out there, I mean, it's not out there, but it's there now, and I can modify it. That's the power I have now. I'm super interested to play around with it and enter new venues. One of the first things I want to do now, basically next week, is to add an API. Right? So basically, you can just use the interface with the API and the whole database and the whole system around it. So that you can just basically have an adapter for any model as an API. And so if you're ever building an application, you can just drop in this as a service and do the inference, and then you get a dashboard of some sorts for doing your research on the requests and responses that flow through the system. That's one of the 14th cans I would like to do. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lucas. That was really amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to Milad, who's hiding in the corner. He is actually organizing a lot of this. So thank you, Milad, for being there. And thank all of you guys for coming and actually having this nice event. I really appreciate that. And I'm happy to see you next time. That's really the end of the formal part here. So feel free to chat, but it's also really late. So don't want to hold Chris too long here. But as long as he wants. Thanks. Just enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much.